Alrighty, so today we're going to be going over our first concert report. My name is Noah Roy, and I am going to be going over the Beethoven 9. So, who was performing? It was the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. The conductor's name was Riccardo Muti, and a little description of what was going on. It was the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, which is a large ensemble consisting of string, woodwind, bass, and percussion sections. It is a renowned group, and they're known for exceptional musicianship and a very rich, unique sound. So before we break down some of the parts of this performance, I just wanted to bring up some very key moments and specific timestamps of what went down. So a few key moments were at 1 minute and 40 seconds, the orchestra was paying very close attention to the conductor because the show was beginning. At the beginning of this performance, the music was extremely dramatic and had many ups and downs. At 19:43, this part of the performance started very abruptly and caught the viewer, me, off guard. It really sounded incredible with the full orchestra going full bore, and it was just so abrupt after a pause. It was like really out of nowhere. At 33:40, this portion of the performance, there was a pause and then it went very soft for a long time. Honestly, it sounded like the background to a peaceful scene in the movie. It felt like I was like floating in the clouds, something peaceful, you know. And at 52:14, this part of the performance was very unique. It was probably the most unique part of the performance. There were random pauses for probably an emotional effect, and the orchestra would then come back from those pauses very intensely. Honestly, I like this section because of the pauses. The long pauses created a lot of different vibe switches, and I was kind of on my toes. So a description of this performance was the piece was Symphony Number 9 in D minor. The composer of the piece was Beethoven, and the performers, as I said before, were the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, which was conducted by Riccardo Muti. So, the first movement, the timbre, was very rich and powerful, with a dramatic quality to it. I don't know, like kind of was like any other timbre I've heard. The meter of the piece was 4. The dynamics were wide in range. It went from pianissimo to fortissimo. The form was allegro, and for the melodic content, it seemed like there were like bold themes and a sense of like urgency. For the second movement, the timbre was light and energetic. It had a lot of woodwinds and strings. The meter of this piece was 3. For the dynamics, there was a lot of contrast that enhanced a like playful character to the whole set. The form was from scherzo to trio, and there were a lot of motifs. For the fourth movement, the timbre was uplifting and had a lot of orchestral and choral elements. The meter of the piece was 4. The dynamics were gradually building, and the form was complex. There was a iconic Ode to Joy theme. This performance took place in Orchestra Hall at the Symphony Center. It was a large concert hall, and there were thousands of people in attendance. This was performed on September 19th, 2014. So the performance itself was very interesting to me. It captivated and showcased the Chicago Symphony and their technical and emotional depth, their technical ability and emotional depth. I enjoyed the pauses that added suspense to the slower paced music, and in some moments the performance did get dull, but for the most part there were enough curveballs to keep me entertained. My favorite moment was the Ode to Joy section. This not only had a powerful choral and orchestral collaboration, but it was like a little pick-me-up, and I honestly like that little change of pace. A moment that could have been better was during the second movement. It could have been at a slightly faster tempo just to be more entertaining. And overall, the performance was great, and it showed Beethoven's work. And as a guy who did not love um, classical music, I thought it was a great job. Of course, there were a few boring moments. But to wrap it up, I said the combination of a world-class orchestra, a renowned conductor, and a great piece of music makes a performance that is both technically impressive and emotionally moving. I'm not a huge classical guy, but this performance was quite entertaining for someone who does not enjoy the genre too much. The venue was big and seemed cool, and overall, this is a performance I'd love to see live. Thank you for your time, and that was my concert report number 1.